Hello, and welcome to Cryptid Spotlight Dover Demon. Before I start, I wanted to thank everyone for the outpouring of understanding and well wishes with last week's computer issue. During the days of April 21st and the 22nd in 1977, the town of Dover, Massachusetts had a brief encounter that still lives on to this day. What exactly was witnessed is still a mystery, but I will go over a couple of the theories later on. At 10:30 at night, 17-year-old Bill Bartlett and two of his friends were driving down Farm Street when they came across a loose stone structure known simply as Farm Street Wall. It was at this point that Bill noticed something in the moonlight moving along the wall on all fours. Originally he thought it was simply a cat or a dog. Once the headlights of the car shone on the being, it quickly became apparent that this wasn't an ordinary creature. Frightened by the sight, he accelerated away and asked his friends if they had seen it. None of his other passengers saw the creature, but insisted he turn around so they could look at it. After a while, Bill turned around, but by this point, the creature was gone. Mr. Bartlett described the being as having a head the shape of a watermelon, gray skin, large orange eyes, and long skinny arms and legs. Once he returned home, his dad noticed how shaken he was, and after retelling what he encountered, he made this drawing of the event. Most sightings end with the first witness, but this case is a little different. Just 2 hours later, 15-year-old John Baxter was walking home after visiting his girlfriend Kathy Cronin. While walking down the lonely stretch of Miller Hill Road, which was only a mile away from Bill Bartlett's encounter, John noticed a child-sized being walking towards him. Mr. Baxter and the being kept walking towards each other, but suddenly the being stopped, which John did as well. After a moment, he took one step forward and the creature bolted into the nearby forest. Being braver than most, Mr. Baxter ran after the creature, thinking it was a frightened child. The being went down a gully, and as it went up the other side, it stopped and stared back at John. Being only 30 feet apart, he was finally able to see that this wasn't a child at all. He described the being as having the body of a monkey, but the head in the shape of a figure 8. Its fingers were very long, and its eyes gleamed orange in the moonlight as it stared at him. Not long after, John couldn't shake the feeling that the creature was planning on jumping at him or attacking him, so he backed up slowly and quickly got back onto the road where a passing car picked him up. At 12 o'clock the following day, 18-year-old William Tainer and 15-year-old Abby Brabham were driving home. While on their way, they came to a bridge where Abby saw what she thought was a hairless, skinny monkey sitting on all fours with a huge melon-shaped head. Abby claimed the being had glowing green eyes, no mouth or ears, but William saw none of the event. It was later that William remembered hearing about Bill Bartlett's encounter the night prior and asked Abby about what she had saw. Abby described exactly what Bill had seen, excluding the green eyes. After being informed about the previous night's sightings, Abby was terrified. Not long after these events, a team of investigators assembled to search for evidence, and one of the men involved was famed cryptozoologist Loren Coleman, who dubbed the creature the Dover Demon. Even though the authorities were skeptical and wrote it off as a summer prank, others, including the police chief Carl Sheridan, wasn't so sure, as he knew the kids and stated they weren't that kind of person. Not to mention that all were sequestered and produced the same similar drawing of what they saw. So what happened that night, and what are the theories? As previously mentioned, some felt it was a summer prank, while others claim it may have been a lost moose calf. I admit that the calf looks similar, but they can't walk on two legs like Mr. Baxter saw, and during that time period the moose population was scarce in the area. One thing important to remember is that even though all other reports saw orange eyes, Abby never recanted her story to fit in with the other sightings. Not only this, but Bill Baxter, who is 55 years old now, hasn't recanted his story. He stated back in 2006 that he wished he had made up the whole story so he could live his life in peace from media and people calling his house. His sighting seems to have been a curse to his life. For the discrepancy for the eye color, some have pointed out that many animals' eyes glow a different color due to the light source, due to what is called the nictitating membrane located in a creature's eyes. Some have claimed the demon is a lost alien or a scout alien, being how closely it resembles the typical greys. Others see it as possibly being an interdimensional being. Again, with all my videos, I let you decide what happened, but I'll add my opinion here. While researching this topic, I couldn't shake two things, one being the similarity in the last names, and the other being the lone sightings. Even with other people with these kids, only one of them saw the creature. While this being was frequently described as being 4 feet tall, I couldn't help but draw similarities to another cryptid, known as the Doppelganger. Typically the Doppelganger is much larger, but everything else seems to fit. This cryptid is said to stalk its prey and eventually take over its victim's life, all the while their loved ones not knowing what happened. They then use this as a way to feed off the life energy of the victim's family members without being detected. Maybe these kids were the only ones to see this thing, since they were the ones being targeted. That's just my thought, but what do you think? With that, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later! If you're interested in other stories involving paranormal or science fiction style topics, you should check out Audible.com. They provide audiobooks to just about any media you have, and have many more genres than just paranormal. With a library of over 180,000 titles, I'm sure there is something that you'll find that will interest you. I currently am listening to a book called Soul Smuggler by Milo James Fowler. The story is about a spirit named Mercer that is a bounty hunter that ushers souls from life to their eternal resting place. The interesting part is that the souls can decide where they ultimately want to end up, but he doesn't take them for free, and the cost can become quite pricey. If you are interested in this book or any of the others, click my link in the description to start your free 30-day trial, which you can cancel at any time. Click my link and it helps me out, as well as you get a free book out of the deal.